In this lecture, we are going to discuss how to create a paragraph spacing between lines of the text. First, let's take a look at the web page we have developed so far in our web browser. We can see that all the text content is on one line and we want it separated onto a multiple lines. The first paragraph spacing that we want to apply is after this line. Now in order to do this, we need to add opening and closing p tags around the text that we want to separate onto a new line. So now we have added the opening and closing. Before the changes can take effect, we have to save our document. Now let's go ahead and preview it again. So now we can see that the two lines of text are separated by paragraph spacing. Next we want to add any other paragraph spacing here in front of the text input and the label enter your name. So you will do the same thing again. Put an opening and closing tag which is called p tag where we want a paragraph spacing and then file say. Let's take a look at it again, and so there is using the paragraph tag we now have all the three lines of the text on the separate lines. Now you might have noticed that when we added a paragraph, it created a fairly large space. We can see a fairly wide gap between the first, second and third line. It's actually double spaced the line of text. What if we only wanted a single line break? Well, for that we would have to use a break tag. To begin, type a block of text nested within the paragraph 10. We will then separate this block of text using a line break. Now we have the lines type. We want a separate line 1 from line 2. So to do that, we will go ahead and type a break tag or enter no. You will notice that the break tag does not require a closing retake. Now let's go ahead and save the file and preview it in our web browser. So we can see that the line 1 is separated from the line 2 and the gap is much smaller using the line break tag versus the paragraph tag. Now let's talk about the spacing between characters. See, we wanted to add a third block of text, so we will go ahead and enter it in. We want to place this line of text 5 spaces away from the syntax 2 on the same line. Let's see what happens when we add 5 spaces on our HTML code with the spacebar and preview it in our web browser. So I have entered 5 spaces. I am going to save the file and I am going to preview it to see if the spaces show up in our web browser, and as we can see here, only one space was registered. HTML ignored spaces in this process is called white spaces, collapsing spaces created by the spacebar. The tab key and return key are all ignored when you write your code. One way to add additional spaces is to add the following tag. Oh, where you require your space, your web browser interprets this tag as a single space. It's the equivalent of pressing the spacebar once on your keyboard. So let's go ahead and copy this tag and just paste it for more time. So we are trying to register 5 spaces. Now save your document and once again preview it. And now we can see that we have 5 spaces between lines 1, between line 2, in line 3. So that is how you enter single spaces in your HTML documents. The header tag allows you to create emphasized tags such as title or headings. Have your tags come in different sizes depending on the level of emphasis you require. Let's insert a few headers in our document under our existing text items. To insert a header, we will start with the open header tag. The one value represents the size of the header. The smaller the value, the larger the header. We will insert a few more just to see some of the different sizes available. Now let's save our file and take a look at the changes in our web browser. So here we can see our 4 headers. Notice that the header 1 within the H and 1 open and closing tag, which is the largest, header 2, the header 3 and the header 4, which is the smallest. In this lesson, we are going to be working with formatting, text making bold, italic, underline in other formatting option. Let's start with creating a text element and making it bold. We will start by creating a new paragraph under our last header. Now to make this text bold, we would add the following tags around the text we have just typed. Strong open tab and the corresponding strong close tag. Now let's save this file and take a look at it in our web browser. So this is what the bold text look like. Now we want a second line of text directly under this bold text line. So using the tab key, you can indent just to keep the format of your code clean and organized. The next text element we are going to make it italic. To make it italic, you use the I tag. It does have the corresponding close tag. I remember if we want this italic text line directly under the bold text line, we need to add a line break, and we will add any other break here because right underneath this we are going to add an underline text which is created with the U tag. We can also insert a straight through our text using the straight tag. It also has a corresponding closing strike tag. So let's take a look at what this looks like so far. So here we can see we have our bold text, italic under text underline in the strike through text. That's what it looks like in the web browser. Now let's go ahead and just add any other break for this next line. We are going to combine a variety of different formatting options together. So let's type the text first. So we want to make this line of a text bold italic and underlined. So we will begin by adding all our tags. We can see start any other order doesn't matter. So we will start with italics and we will create the clothes tag at the end. So we can see that tag must be the close in the same order that were open, and we will save that. So there it is. We have a line of text that bold italic and the underline. Any other way of formatting text is known as inline text formatting. Note that this is an outdated way of formatting your text. In the next session, we will be using access to format text in other HTML elements. So there is much more efficient of formatting text and offer a much higher degree of format customization. For this exercise, we will change the format of H for using the inline text formatting. We will apply a font face, change the font size and apply a different color. In order to do that, we are going to start with the open font tag. The for p tag, we had different attributes. One of the attributes is the font weight. We will apply the Arial font to this text. The next attribute is the size. So we can plug in any numerical value here. The font color is any other attribute. We'll change the color to blue. Next, we will just add the closing font tag. This is known as the line text formatting. So let's go ahead and save the file and preview the file in our web browser. And there it is. We can see the header is much larger. It's no blue and the font face is different than other header. It is the Arial. In this lecture, we will be adding our unordered list to our document. An unordered list looks like this. You can see the heading and then the list item in no particular order. So in our HTML document. Let's go ahead and first insert the heading for our list. We use the 3 tags. Once we have the header created, we can start the list. To create our unordered list, we can use the open and close tags, which stand for unordered list, as you probably guessed. Now inside the unusual tags, we create the list item using the item. There is the open in the closing tag, so we can just insert the first list item within these tags. We can just insert a few other items to populate the list. And there it is. This is the complete list with the heading. Let's save the file and once again preview it in our web browser. That's what the list look like in the web browser. In addition to unordered list, we also have the ordered lists. The list item is in an ordered list are identifiable by sequential numerical values. Let's take a look at an example. Here we have the heading, my favorite vacation, and underneath we have the each list items attached to the list item in a number, and so this is the order list. Let's go ahead and create the order list in our HTML document. To begin, we will start by entering the header just like we did for our last list, which was the unordered list. We will start off with 3. Now to create the order list, we start with the open and closing tag, which stand for the order list. The tag is the AOL, and in between these tags just create an indent by pressing the key and start creating your list items, and that's what the list looks like. Notice we don't have specified the actual value attached to each list item. That will be created automatically starting with from lowest to highest. So let's go ahead and save this file and preview what the its look like in our web browser. So there it is. We have the header and each lists items with a sequential numerical value attached next to it.
Like, subscribe and press the bell icon of Getsitement for future updates.